Howdy, name is Dave. Channel's TXW5CSM. This is a follow-up to my 2012 Ford F-150 amateur radio installation. Got a mount detail request from Justin Robinson and got some input from Jorge Maldonado on cable management for the hanging cable in the back of my original video. So I'm going to cover those two today, and thank you very much, guys, because knowledge is only power when it's shared. You guys shared some questions and some inputs, and I really appreciate it. So to start with, we're going to discuss the antenna mount. The antenna mount I purchased from www.mountguys.com. The mount is the extra long 22-inch car seat bolt. It cost, there's some more there, for Yaesu, ICOM, blah blah, whatever, radios. The part number, I believe, is Mike Foxtrot X-Ray 881-22-Hotel Alpha Mike. So MFX 881-22-Ham. Again, it's the 22-inch extra long. I'll show you why in a moment, why it had to be extra long. So Justin, this one's for you. So as we look down at the mount, you do have to remove the cover that normally sits in this area. There are a couple of easily removable plastic locks that don't require any tools, just a little bit of kinetic force. I'm going to go over to my little diagram here and I'll show you that I did have to modify the, I guess it's sort of like a crowfoot wrench looking portion, and you'll see the real one here for a minute. But the darkened area in the middle, I did have to round out a little bit with the Dremel tool, because the bolt that goes down into my seat was a little bit bigger than the mount would allow. But it still has enough structural integrity and works rather well. So now, over to the mount. You'll notice that the mount itself is, the crowfoot is used to attach into the seat mounting bolt. Don't know if we can get around the back side. There is an additional little mounting area here if you wanted to bolt it into the side of the plastic or something here, so you don't run into the problem that I have, which is it basically has to come out at a 90-degree angle. Now this is a bendable aluminum. Don't know how many times you can bend it, but it is covered with aluminum. Looks nice. The problem with that is, if you can see, it doesn't affect me, but it will touch this module and begin to affect these wires eventually. In this truck, I do have the air-conditioned seating and the heated seats, and they are the powered seats. So if you don't have these things underneath, you may not have that challenge to worry about. But you'll notice again that it comes out at virtually a 90-degree angle before it goes up. I brought it all the way up to the top. Again, bear with my shaky cameraman. And I'm going to remove the radio head itself right now so that you can see exactly how I had to mount it. Oh, improvements I've made since the installation. I just stick the microphone in this. It's safe from accidental keying. And I use the microphone hanger to hang an external speaker that I use to run the audio. Depending on how you want to run it, you can run it through there. I've just removed that. Or I can run it through the MP3 player auxiliary, which is kind of nice for long road trips because the audio quality through the stereo is much nicer. So, standard removal of the ICOM 7000 headset. It's on the appropriate mount, and then the mount itself has a locking mechanism that comes with it. My problem with that was, and the modification that I had to make, is the bolts were a little long, so you'll notice I did have to take the Dremel tool on the back side of the nuts and shave it down. Of course, it probably could be done a little bit tidier, but it's behind the radio control head, so it doesn't show. So there's a quick walkthrough on the mount, why I chose to do it the way I did it. And again, the only issue I have is when my wife tries to drive the truck, and she will occasionally knock that module loose, and I'll try to come up with a fix for that. Again, you could use any of the mounting surfaces along here. You could go with a shorter mount if you wanted to drill into the plastic. That's up to you. And you'll notice a little bit that there is some jumpiness in the because it is 22 inches long and it is freestanding, that it does have a little bit of wobble in it, but keeping your hand on it, you know, while you're tuning it or looking at it, alleviates that. It's a little problematic, but not something that's going to make me want to change anything. So now we will move into the rear of the truck. Darn cameraman. And as you'll recall from my initial installation, I had a little bit of issue with the cable management. There was a cable hanging in this area here. Well, from Jorge, he told me just pull this. Well, he actually said you could pull them both, but I only had to pull this one. There's a small spacer behind it that gives it some offset distance from the top of the truck. And I just routed the cable up and above it and then put this back in. And the only tool I needed to do that, Jorge said you could just grab it and pull it, but I happen to have this old GM door window crank tool with me. I was able to pull it out a little bit by hand, and the rest of it came out with this. And you'll notice there's no marring or tearing up of any of the surface around it. Those are just some finger dust marks. So anyway, thanks guys for the help, and again, knowledge is only power when it's shared.